Start by inspecting the contents of your recipe kit. Note that the ingredients are pre-measured and clearly identified. This allows you to learn the brewing process without worrying about measurements. Making beer is as much about the process as it is about the ingredients. Did you know that there are over 6,000 styles of beer in the world, yet there are only 4 basic ingredients? Beer is made of sugar, which has been extracted from malted barley, a flour called hops, brewer's yeast, and water. The types and amount of each ingredient, along with the way they are combined during brewing, will determine the final color, aroma, and most of all, the flavor of the finished beer. You will notice that the hops are sealed in special packaging to prevent exposure to ultraviolet light. All other ingredients are packaged to maintain freshness for up to 3 months. At Leaner's, we restock our store weekly to assure the freshness of kit ingredients. The most important part of your recipe kit are the brewing instructions. We strongly recommend that you read all of the instructions before you begin. To start brewing, place 2.5 gallons of cool water in a 12-quart stock pot on the stove and turn on the heat. The brewer's best method of home brewing is referred to as extract brewing because we are using sugar which has already been extracted from malted barley. The recipe contains cracked malted barley, which is placed in a steeping bag, tied closed, and added to the pot. Steeping fresh malted grains in this way will provide vibrant color while greatly enhancing fresh malt aroma and flavor. It is important that you do not let the water begin to boil while the grains are steeping. If the water becomes too hot, the husk of the grain will add an odd flavor to the beer. As the brew kettle continues to heat, use your spoon to stir the steeping bag around. Keep heating the kettle and stir occasionally. Covering the kettle will help it to heat more quickly. Meanwhile, we can prepare our next ingredient, the malt extract. Extract is available in 2 forms, canned syrup and dry powder. It is not unusual for recipes to use only one type or a combination of both. Extracts are also available in 4 colors, ranging from very pale Pilsner, sometimes referred to as extra light, to the rich darkness of an Irish stout. When the brew kettle is just about boiling, remove the grain steeping bag. Do this by lifting the bag with your slotted spoon, allowing the liquid to drain out, and then discard. Resist the temptation to squeeze or wring more liquid from the grain bag. Doing so will add unwanted tannin from the grain husk. The malt extract syrup is heavier than the water, so it will sink to the bottom of the pot. To prevent the extract from burning or becoming caramelized, stir as you add it to the kettle. The malt extract syrup is also extremely sticky. Be careful not to spill any, especially on the hot stove top. To get all of the extract from the can, add a little of the hot liquid and stir. The heat will help to melt the remaining syrup, making it easier to pour into the kettle. Another trick is to place the can of extract into a sink or pan of very hot water while you steep the grains. This will loosen the syrup, making it flow more easily. Stir the liquid in the can to dissolve the remaining syrup. Then add it to the pot. Once the syrup is dissolved, add the dry extract. Cut the top of the bag off completely. Do not dump the dry malt in all at once. A steady flow and constant stirring will work best. Unlike malt syrup, which sinks when added to water, dry malt extract floats. The powder will clump as it gets wet. Keep stirring until all signs of powder disappear. This super sweet malt liquid is the food source for the brewer's yeast during fermentation. The beer is now called wort, meaning unfermented beer. All stovetops are different. It will take some time for the wort to come to a boil. It is important to stir to avoid caramelization. This is the browning of the sugar, which will darken the finished beer. It is time to begin balancing the beer by adding bitter flavors to the sweet malt. Placing the hops in a boiling bag will make it easy to remove and discard them later. The hop bag is placed directly into the kettle and given a quick stir. The words hop addition or hop schedule describe the process of adding hops to beer during brewing. The wort must now be boiled for 60 minutes. This is necessary to extract the bitter resin lupulin from the hops. Different hop varieties will have varying amounts of lupulin. This is called alpha acid percent. The higher the percentage, the more bitter the hops will taste. While the wort is brewing, we can prepare the primary fermenter pail. Place the lid and airlock in the sink. 2 tablespoons of Easy Clean mixed with 2 gallons of warm water is all that is needed. Easy Clean is a no-rinse contact cleanser. It is safe for household use and will not leave bleach or stain spots. Tilt the pail and allow the solution to flow over the surface. 15 seconds of contact is all you need. Collecting the runoff in the sink will take care of the lid and airlock. The Easy Clean solution is meant for one-time use only. It will remain active for about 20 minutes and should be discarded after use. Place the ale pail, lid, and airlock on a clean paper towel and allow them to air dry while you finish brewing. It is during the air drying process that the Easy Clean chemical performs the sanitizing step. No rinsing is necessary. Now it's time for the last hop addition, called finishing hops. Finishing hops provide fresh hop aroma and flavor. They are typically boiled for less than 15 minutes. Note that these hops are added directly to the wort. You will want some of the finishing hops to remain in the beer during primary fermentation. They will continue to impart flavor and aroma. The brewing is complete. Turn off the heat and cover the kettle. The next step is to cool the wort as quickly as possible. Placing the kettle in a sink of cold water will do this. Fill the sink until the kettle just starts to float. Overfilling could cause the kettle to tip and spill. As the water heats, move the kettle around. Changing the water 3 times over 30 minutes will reduce the temperature to around 120 degrees. As the wort cools, get the primary fermenter ready to fill. Place the pail in a stable position on the floor. Start by adding 2.5 gallons of cool water to the fermenter pail. This makeup water, plus the 2.5 gallons from the brew kettle, will bring us to a full 5 gallons. The cold water also helps reduce the temperature of the wort. Pour the cooled wort directly into the primary fermenter. This is the only time in brewing when oxygen is a good thing. Allow the wort to splash into the fermenter. The 4th and final ingredient is now added. Brewer's yeast is sprinkled onto the wort. Since everything on the planet likes beer as much as we do, the fermenter must be closed airtight. As the brewer's yeast eats the malt sugar, carbon dioxide gas and alcohol are produced. Fermentation may take as long as 24 hours to start. An airlock device is attached to the lid in order to allow carbon dioxide to escape while preventing unwanted bacteria from entering the fermenter. The airlock is created by adding water to the device. You should periodically check the water level in the airlock device during fermentation. Your first brew day is finished. The beer will ferment for 7 to 10 days before the next step.